Last thing I'll say, if you actually do read these books I'm talking about, which you should, you will wince at times at the overreach. Very often, even within, let's just say, even at the time, and you have to remember we're talking hundreds of years ago in Europe, even for their time, very often Calvin and his company of pastors were authoritarian. They could get upset. By the way, here's a good example. One of the things in the Scott Manich book, I remember there was one of the things they discouraged was giving your baby, when your baby was coming to be baptized, you would name the child, and they discouraged, they wanted you to give people biblical names, give the kids biblical names, instead of the names of the Catholic saints. Because it was traditional to give your kids the name of the saints, and so the company of pastors was saying, no, give your kids biblical names, not the names of the saints. And there was one guy that was a little on the authoritarian side, and he was up there conducting the baptism, and his parents came forth, and they said, what is the name of this child? And I think they said, his name is Claude, which is one of the Catholic saints. And so the guy picked the kid up in his arms and said, no, his name is Abraham, and baptized him and changed the name right on the spot. Or something like that. I forget what the name was, but he changed the name. He just refused. And during that Friday company of pastors meeting, some people said to him, that might have just been a little over the top. So they could be pretty authoritarian. And yet, and we're independent. Even those of us who think of ourselves as strong evangelicals, we are creatures of our culture. Our culture has taught us that we should be independent, we should be free, we should be able to, we resent the intrusiveness of a tight community and accountability. Nevertheless, there are abuses. I'm trying to tell you that. There is authoritarianism. And we have to be very, very wary of that, because people receive this worse than they ever have. If people back in those days sometimes felt that the company of pastors was overbearing, we really are going to have to be very careful and sensitive and gracious in the way which we do it now. But I don't know going forward that we can do well unless we do what Calvin did, which was to democratize the monastic practices and to create an extremely tight company of pastors who got lifelong, intense training, and I'm not sure that we're going to be able to make it unless we do something along those lines. That's all.